Well, guys, let me just say if your porn use has been discovered or disclosed to your wife, then it is likely you are experiencing conflict and uncertainty in your marriage. Most likely, trust has been broken and you realize that damage has been done. So, my question today is what is the path forward to repair trust and restore your relationship? Or what should your fiance or wife do with this new information? Today on Finding Traction, we bring in one of the foremost experts on helping couples through sexual addictions. Welcome aboard.
Guys ready?
When it comes to porn, are you stuck, spinning out, or slipping backwards in your life? If so, then welcome to the Finding Traction podcast, a show dedicated to those who are looking to gain recovery momentum away from porn and toward the life and relationships they have always hoped for. Now, here's your host, Vern Tomke.
Hey guys, let me just say this before we get on to my interview with Barbara Steffens. First of all, if you are a Spotify user, Spotify sucks. Spotify has been starting to remove any podcasts that I have even a short music clip on. So anyways, if you notice that some of the episodes are missing, that's the reason why. You can still, of course, find all of the episodes on a different podcast app, or you can find them on my Circle learning platform. And so that's something that for you to know. Talking about Circle, let me just say on Circle, you can get access to a whole bunch of worksheets, a whole bunch of free resources. On the show notes, you will see a sign up link that you can sign up for Circle. Encourage guys just to use, let's say, their first initial and their last name, or the other way around, just for privacy purposes. But a lot of guys, I think we have 120 guys that have now joined that. So just encourage you to come on board with that. I think you'll find it helpful. You'll also find information there about the Finding Traction course. That's the course that I often bring up. The 52-week video course that is available there that you can purchase. The first 2 sessions are for free. You can watch them there to get an idea. And also there's information about the Finding Traction groups. That is where we sit down, I lead a group of guys, and together we walk through the course together. We encourage each other. We are at the point, it's now the spring of 2025, mid-April. We're looking at starting a new group. We now have guys that are asking to get into a new group. So if you are at the point where you're going, you know what, it's time. It's time. I'm tired of trying to do this on my own. And you are looking at joining a Finding Traction group. We're going to be starting a new one, hopefully in the next few weeks. And so please reach out to me. My email is bandofbrothers.care@gmail.com. So here's my conversation with Barbara Steffens. Well, guys, I am so excited to have Barbara Steffens here. It is such a pleasure to have you on the show, Barbara.
No, I'm so glad to be here. I always love to have these conversations.
Well, I was listening to, well, first of all, I was reading all the letters after your name. PhD, LPCC, CCPS, and CPC. I think that says that you know a lot about helping couples in therapy and working with couples, because many of those have to do with couple therapy, right?
Well, they have to do with therapy. They may or may not involve couples therapy, but certainly this is something that's happened in a relationship, most likely for the people that are listening to us. And one of those things with all the letters is gone because I'm retired. I was
Okay.
licensed professional clinical counselor, the LPCC. So now
Okay.
that's off to the side
Well,
because I don't do clinical work
congratulations.
anymore. Yeah, it's different.
Well, you've also written a book called Your Sexually Addicted Spouse, along how partners can cope and heal. And you, along with Marcia Means, wrote this book to help a partner understand their sexually addicted spouse. So you also bring that to the table, right?
Yes, yeah. I was approached by Marcia about writing a book based on research I did that showed that
Hmm.
partners experience trauma symptoms after finding out or discovering their loved
Okay.
one's sexual secrets. And the book
Hmm.
is really about how does the partner respond. It's not nearly about what's going to help the person with the addiction, but it's helping the betrayed partner understand the trauma experiences that they have. When the book was written, we called partners co-addicted or
Okay.
codependent and all
Hmm.
these things. And so part of the book was to bring the awareness of trauma, especially betrayal trauma. Now we call it that,
Hmm.
um, that impact the partners.
Okay, well, you said you just retired, but from the looks of it, you have spent a large portion of your career in this area. And can you
Mhm.
just share from a personal standpoint, how and why did you devote your career to this area?
Well, I was having a fine career. I was being
Okay,
a counselor. I was on staff of a church running lay ministries and
right?
having a great time. Lost that job. Didn't know why, but lo and behold, I had a discovery.
Hmm.
And so, what I tell people is it's not something I chose, it's something that chose me.
Oh boy.
So, out of my own trying to find help for myself and finding either inadequate help or very
Hmm.
not helpful help. And then I started to make myself available. There was a man that I knew that was running wonderful groups for men were struggling. And I
Hmm.
said, "Where's the group for someone like me?" And he said, "When are you going to start it?" So
Got it.
that's how I got in the field, was just sitting, making space, listening to women who were betrayed, and having done work with people who had any kind of trauma before,
Hmm.
I automatically recognized the symptoms that they were experiencing and the symptoms I was experiencing. And so then I went on to decide to do research. That's when I got my doctorate and found that there was high levels of post-traumatic stress after partners find out about their loved one's sexual secrets. So that's how I got into it.
Oh boy. Okay, so this is something when you are also sharing your story, it brings a whole level of, I think, gravitas to the scenario to say, yeah, I understand this. Can
Mhm.
I want to share something that I am, maybe we'll take a high level view, then we're going to get into, specific advice for partners, and then, we're going to make two assumptions in this interview. Number one, we're just going to talk as if it's the man who has been struggling with
Mhm.
with his sexual addictions, and the woman is the partner. That's assumption
Sure.
one. And the second thing I want to, as an assumption, is primarily today we're going to deal with porn use. We're not going
Mhm.
to get into actual
Sure.
involvement with other real people. So just for the listener to keep those two contexts in mind. So
Mhm.
so here's my question from I guess a 20,000 foot level. I understand and have come to, through my reading, to realize that it is completely understandable and legitimate for a woman to experience betrayal trauma because of her husband's porn use. Okay, actually, no, let me just stop there. Tell me can you give me a bit of a description of what betrayal trauma means and what that is what that experience feels like to the sufferer? Because
Okay.
I just don't want to gloss over that. I want to start with
Sure.
that. Explain
Sure.
what
No,
that term is and means.
these are really important words. I want to start with trauma first because
Okay.
we've known about trauma for a long time and what it looks like and the kinds of things that can bring about trauma. And
Hmm.
trauma is when something kind of hits you, blindsides you,
Right.
and leaves you feeling unsafe. And
Okay.
then the term betrayal trauma adds the relationship to it. So there's this sense of, I'm not betrayed by a stranger. It's still traumatic, but I may not experience it betrayal other than betrayal of humankind or maybe God's betraying me. He didn't protect me. I might
Right.
experience it that way. But the betrayal is the nature of the relationship. I have an expectation of safety
Hmm.
in my primary relationship, in our marriage. I have, an assumption of safety when I go to the doctor. If I
Hmm.
go to the doctor and he mistreats me, that can feel like betrayal trauma, but not to the degree that it is with someone that you have committed to, that you
Right.
trust, you've given yourself to them, you've started to build a life. And so there's a sense of the person that should get my back, have my back
Hmm.
the most, has now hurt me the most. And so
Got it.
it's just a sense of really not feeling safe any longer.
And that, in working with so many guys, that is an experience that I think I hear very often. It's a
Hmm.
very common experience.
Yeah.
Let me ask this further question. One thing that has puzzled me is is that is a very common experience that women have gone through, but it is not the exclusive experience. I have seen a wide range of women's responses to, for example, their husband's porn use. From, on one hand, what you've just described,
Hmm.
to another hand of, dude, you've got a problem. I don't like it. I don't want it in our marriage. What are we going to do to see this taken care of?
Hmm.
Where they wouldn't necessarily use those words or experience that emotions. Can you talk to me a little bit? How do you explain the wide range of women's responses to the disclosure of their husband's porn use?
Typically, at least in my research, majority of the time, pornography use or any kind of sexual behaviors that were hidden weren't disclosed to the partner. They were
Right.
discovered.
Okay.
So it's the
Huge.
partner stumbling upon it, not
Hmm.
knowing about it. And the way she finds out is this was this huge secret, this huge
Okay.
pocket of who you are that I didn't have access to. Maybe I felt like something wasn't quite right, but you
Right.
weren't or he wasn't forthcoming in it. Hey, I'm doing this. Is this okay with you? Or how do you feel about this?
Hmm.
Or man, I'm really struggling with this. I need some help. Would be a totally different kind of response, I would think,
Yes.
from partners than me, my experience going to the computer and all of a sudden stuff just starts popping up that I didn't know anything about and didn't have any way of knowing because how this person that I love is betraying himself is I'm not doing anything that would hurt
Right.
you.
Right.
That's the difference. It's
That
the
is
betrayal
super.
of the secret, of the hiddenness, of the not being forthcoming or honest about your struggles.
Hmm.
So when they explode, it's like stepping on a landmine.
That is super helpful for me because
Yeah.
because I'm trying to make sense of that, and I think there is a qualitative difference on how that information comes out. Does it make a difference? I was chatting with another coach today, and and I'm not saying this is a again a explanation for everything. Does a person's religious background affect this as well? If you grew up where porn was in the house or something versus you grew up in a sheltered conservative background, a religious background, is that a factor, or am I overstating that? Am I?
I
Yeah.
Yeah, I don't know that it's a factor. Part of the reason I don't know that is because I'm not aware that anyone has studied if there's a difference there in
Okay.
terms of how a partner responds. But with the women that I have had access to, it
Hmm.
really doesn't matter. It's more around what was their understanding of the relationship, what were
Right.
the ground rules or the boundaries of this relationship. And when it's violated, that's the betrayal, that is the trauma. And it doesn't matter if it's pornography or having an affair or anything. It's the deception
Got it.
um, more than anything, and the hiddenness and the pretending to be someone that you are not being. So not having integrity
Right.
in the behaviors. But it's the suddenness, and again, most of the time it's the partner who discovers it when it's
Hmm.
been a secret.
Right. Yeah, because it does come to a matter of that word integrity.
Yeah,
Who you portrayed yourself to be, who I
right.
was led to believe you were, was not a portrayal of the actual person you are.
Yeah, yeah,
And I feel like I'm now having to deal with a stranger from the person
yeah.
that I believe you to be in my mind.
Yeah. And so then a lot of guys would say something like, well, this is the only thing I have lied about
Oh
and I've
boy.
kept from you.
Oh
That
boy.
doesn't work because
No.
once you have lied, you have shown the
No.
capacity that you know how to do that. So a partner cannot assume this is the only thing. And so that's why it looks so messy for partners when they, especially when they're the ones that discover it,
Hmm.
because they figure if I didn't know this, what else don't I know? And so they're terrified. What else am I going to find out? And when I want to know what the truth is, how in the world will I ever know what that is when you haven't been truthful with me? And I thought you were.
Right. And I do want to, so just theoretically, I do want to make allowances for couples where a guy has been completely honest from day one
Right.
that there has been, it's seen as a struggle coming into the relationship. The wife, wide-eyed, enters the relationship knowing that this is this is something they're going to need to navigate. Um, there that might not have a betrayal trauma response because if those assumptions are accurate, which actually reflects my relationship with my wife. We entered into a relationship. I'm a bit of an oversharer if you haven't noticed. But it was very much an eyes wide open relationship from days one.
Yeah.
So my wife would not necessarily resemble that response. Doesn't mean she liked the porn that I was struggling with, and I didn't like the porn I was struggling with. But together, we it was like, well, how are you going to get help, and how can I support you in the steps you need to take?
Right.
But your situation you've described, I think if as men we're honest, that's more commonly the situation that you've described.
It is much more common that it's not, it's something that has been hidden, or it's something where it was a struggle and I've said and I've shown you I'm not doing this anymore. And then
Right.
lo and behold, they find out, yes, it has come back, or you are engaging in it again, or you've been lying to me the whole time that you had
Yes.
really stopped struggling with that. So honesty is really important in this, right? But I want to talk about one other thing.
Please do.
Even if it's something that the partner is aware of, she may not be fully aware
Right.
of the contents or frequency, or fully aware of what that's going to feel like for her over time. So
Okay.
even if it's not the big blow up trauma, it can be really insidious
Hmm.
and kind of erosive in the relationship.
And us men are great at minimizing.
Uh-huh.
Well, Barbara, it's kind of on and off again.
Really not a big deal.
Yeah, on and off means, it could be on every morning and it could be off every morning and on every afternoon, every
Right.
day. It could be every week, on and off. That
Hmm.
kind of subtle, deceptive saying, okay, this is not really a problem, or I have struggled in the past.
Yeah.
Those kind of relationships.
And
Well,
then it's important in the relationship to have a conversation. What are the boundaries in our relationship? Is this okay or is it not okay?
right,
And if it's not okay, then what do we do?
right.
Or what do you do? Or what kind of boundaries do I, as the spouse, need to have if this continues to happen? Because I
Mm,
have said this is not okay in our relationship.
right.
So
Okay,
defining that's important.
absolutely. Well, let's then give you a couple scenarios. These are just ones from uh, calls that I have with guys. I love to sit
Okay.
down. We do a free Zoom call with guys. So let me give you one scenario that I've heard a few times. A guy is getting ready for marriage. He's now engaged. And he feels like, okay, now that we're engaged, um, and the wedding date has been set, I have this internal pressure that I've got to tell you that I struggle with porn. Okay. So now, woman fiance, okay. So she's sitting in your office. She comes into your office and said, Barbara, Dr. Steffens, I just found out about my husband's struggle with porn. We're engaged to be married in 6 months. And I don't know what to do with this. I love him. I want to be married to him. What would you say to a gal like that?
Well, I would certainly want to explore her feelings about it. Any
Okay.
disappointment? How did the conversation go? What does she feel like she needs? Is this something that is tolerable in her relationship? And if not, then what kinds of boundaries, we use that word a lot, but
Hmm.
what are your needs, the things that you can say yes to or no to? And then how will you abide by the no's? If it's a no go,
Hmm.
then what do you need to do? I would much rather see someone postpone a wedding
Okay.
than to go ahead and jump into a wedding because we've already planned it and I just found out this huge thing and you don't know. You don't have enough information yet to know what kind of level of problem is this
Hmm.
and what steps are going to be taken if it's not okay in the relationship. So I would want to slow things down a little bit so that she can take in what does this mean for her. She probably just feels floored,
Hmm.
deceived, sad, whatever the emotions are. But
Right.
you know, sometimes once a date has been set, it's really hard for a couple to say, "Wow, we still have some stuff we need to work through." So the counselor in me, the pastor part of me would say, let's hold this for a bit and
Hmm.
see what it is you need and then how you can work this out in the relationship before you go through with the marriage.
Yeah, and the way I phrase the scenario, it does feel unfair to the gal in
Hmm.
this situation because now we have all of the train of the social momentum of the date that people know about,
Right.
and and that that is itself must feel unfair to
Hmm.
the gal. Remember my
Yeah.
assumptions here to say,
Right.
well, now I can't even, it's hard for me to make that call because how do we explain it and all of that. So
Hmm.
there's feelings around that I think would be genuine,
Oh,
even
absolutely.
anger, and
Hmm.
and there's a in that aspect. So I like that. I hear where you're going. Now let's scope that forward then to a lady who's been married for maybe a number of years. And as you described, she's found out that this quote unquote on and off again relationship with porn is essentially an on relationship. It's not really an off relationship. And uh, trying to figure out, and I guess this also applies to the fiance situation. What would you, as a counselor, a therapist, be trying to say? What are you looking for in your husband if you were going to make decisions about the viability, the status of this relationship, the nature of your relationship? What would you be counseling the woman to be looking for to determine what's really going on?
Um, I'm hoping I'm understanding your question right. What I would want to do with a woman is ask her what is it that she needs
Okay.
in the relationship now that that's has come out, however it's come out.
Right.
What does that mean to her? What does it feel like? What are her responses? Let her experience the emotions of it.
Hmm.
Is this something that's workable for you or not? What kinds of things has he said he's willing to do to stop the behavior? Do you need him to stop the behavior? So I would have a whole lot of
Right.
exploring to do
Yeah.
in terms of what was it like for you when you heard that, when you found that out, and then go from there. So, in terms of longer term, what would she be looking for? She'd be
Right.
looking, I'm assuming this is not okay with her. I
Yes,
have to assume that. I'm
that's
going
a
to
great
assume that.
assumption. Yes.
Okay, it's not okay with her. Then I would be asking her, um, then what do you need, and what kind of request can you make of him to cease this behavior? And then what are you willing to do or not do if it
Hmm.
continues? And that's a long
Oh, absolutely.
conversation. That's such a long conversation. That's weeks, if not months, in terms of what do you need and how has this impacted you? The level of grief that partners experience when they think that their relationship is one way and then they
Hmm.
find out that there's been this hidden secret. I mean,
Right.
they're grieving the relationship as well as grieving the reality of their loved one struggling with porn. So it's their sense of their history is distorted now. They
Hmm.
don't know what was real. Were you using porn when we were having our first child? So they go over history and try to start to figure out how do I put this reality in place because before I didn't know it was part of my
Hmm.
reality. So this is a long process for
Yeah.
someone to just take in the information, let alone think about, well, what do I need?
Right. Well,
But those are
I love the idea and once well, not I love the idea, but what I hear you saying is they're grieving the picture of the relationship that they had in their mind, what they
It's not
believe.
just in their mind, it's how they walked it out. It's
Okay.
how the person showed up. It's what the
Okay.
person said to them. So it's not that they made it up. It's that they weren't given access to part of the reality.
Thank you. That's a great correction. I
Yeah.
appreciate that.
Yeah.
So this kind of goes to I always, I think it's Doug Weiss that talked about saying to a woman, don't believe anything he says, only believe what he does. So I guess this comes back to a question of if you were talking now to a guy, um, his porn use has been discovered, trust has been broken big time. He desires, or he says he desires, to restore that trust, to restore the marriage. What are some do's and don'ts that you would encourage the man to begin to walk out towards healing and hope in their relationship?
They have to start walking out in healing and hope in their own relationship with themselves before they can do that with their spouse. Now, they may be able to do it kind of in tandem
Hmm.
along the same time, but the main focus has got to be, is this something I know I want to stop? Because if
Okay.
you say, I'm going to stop because you're really upset with me and I don't
Right.
want you mad, that's not going to last.
Right.
And the partner will know that that's not going to last. It's got to be your decision,
Okay.
you the guy, that this is something I no longer want in my life, and I am going to do whatever it takes for it to go away. I hope that we can be restored. Even if we're not, I want to be a person of integrity. This is what I'm going to do. If you can't make those kinds of statements, um, then it makes sense that the partner's going to sense this. I hear you saying you want to stop, but I'm not seeing it. So,
Right.
so that statement about just watch what they do is pretty accurate. And
Hmm.
what they do is I have to get rid of this thing that's been controlling my life. I
Do
want
you-
you with me as I do it, but I am going to do it even if you need to leave me.
that's huge
It's huge.
because we oftentimes, I can't speak for all men, but I'll try. We often respond to pain and discomfort. And the thing right in front of us is,
Right,
I don't want to lose this relationship.
right.
And that can be there. That can
Yeah.
be a motive, but that has to be overridden very quickly by I am not the man that I want to be
Hmm.
in this way. This is not
Yeah.
who I am. And
Yeah.
this is not what I want for my family, my marriage, my kids, the legacy of my life.
Hmm.
You know, and to hear that, is there a time that one of the things I see men trying to do is trying to rush through this or trying to take a flower and open it up before spring, like trying to, like, you can tell I
Hmm.
want spring here faster.
Really bad.
Yeah, but come on, can you forgive me? Can we get over this? I'm sorry. How does that how does a woman respond when she feels rushed or pressed into a quick response in those situations?
No, she's going to feel like that her feelings and how this has impacted her isn't as important as your discomfort. I'm saying you just because of
No,
how we're
that's fine.
having the conversation.
I will be representative
Okay, okay.
of that here. Yes.
So, but if the priority to the betrayer is, I don't want you mad at me,
Right.
that's not going to cut it. Because what the partner is going to be looking for is, I want to be that man of integrity. And then I'm hoping you're going to love me because you're going to see this man of integrity.
Right.
That's hard.
Mm,
And so if I'm working with a partner, I'm letting her know that is really hard. And it may be a while before he gets to this place of saying, I am going to do this with or without you. And I hope you can stay and watch because I want our relationship. I love you, but I will understand. I won't like it. I will understand, but I am going to have to do that for me. And and sometimes partners will tell me, well, my husband has said that, but I'm not seeing any evidence of it.
mm,
And so then I say, believe your eyes,
right.
not the words.
Is there breadcrumbs that could lead you to see those changes? Do you, you know,
Oh, sure.
Hansel and Gretel me here
Oh,
in
yeah.
terms
Yeah.
of
Sure. What are
what
the
could,
signposts?
yes,
Yeah.
help us poor guys out here.
I
Yeah.
know. I know. Doing what you say you're going to do.
Okay.
No surprises.
Hmm.
You know, take it seriously. So if you say, I'm going to get in a group and I'm going to be there every week, do it. If you
Hmm.
miss, then you tell your spouse, I'm going to choose to miss tonight's group because of this. Is that okay with you?
Hmm.
So demonstrate
Right.
the process of getting this thing out of your life because she's going to be observing. I'm going to be helping her take a stance of watch and observe the behaviors, not the words.
Okay.
Watch the behaviors and the consistency. It won't be consistent right away, but you're watching for the level of consistency that he wants to be a new man.
Hmm.
And if he
Okay.
wants to be a new man, he's going to that's where he's going to put his face towards. That's what he's looking at. Um, and then he won't be pleading with his wife. He will be going to Jesus. He will be going to group. He will be
Hmm.
studying. He'll be talking about the things he's learning about, how this grabbed a hold of him. So
Hmm.
those are the signposts for the partner. Now,
Okay.
partners worry that if I say those things to
Right.
you, to
Yep.
the guys who are listening, that somehow or another they're going to start looking like it. But
I'll hack the system, Barbara.
I'll hack it. Uh-huh. I'll know exactly what to say, but it's not a say, it's a do and
Yeah.
do over time. And so I would be then helping the partner. How do you stay safe during this crazy time when you don't
Hmm.
know what he's going to choose to do?
Right.
How are you going to take good care of yourself?
Barbara, that advice for the guys and for the gals is so helpful. Can I ask you maybe as we close this up, if there is a gal listening to this, and I want to encourage our guys to have the courage to have their wives, their struggling wives, to listen to this. So, guys, there's my challenge. But I want to ask you, Barbara, how you would encourage what are some areas where women could reach out to get that level of support and guided help to navigate through this? Because they
Hmm.
can't do that on their own. And I recognize
No.
there's way more out there for men than there is for women. It's
Hmm.
slowly changing, but how would you recommend, or what was some resources you'd recommend to help women through this stage?
Yeah, well, I would certainly encourage them to read. There's a lot of good books, there's a lot of good podcasts out now. Our book, Your Sexually Addicted Spouse, will describe kind of a lot of the things that we talked about. There's an organization, I'm going to drop their name because I
Go,
was their
go for it.
founding president. So that
Mhm.
was It is APSATS, Association of Partners of Sex Addicts Trauma Specialists, and over
APSAT,
10
APS.
SATS.
Okay, got it. Thank you.
Yeah, so we started APSATS over 10, it's probably been almost 12 years now on training and certifying clinicians and coaches, especially on how to help a partner from a trauma-informed
Hmm.
process. And so we have coaches that run wonderful groups. There's clinicians that can help. There's people that are trained on how to do therapeutic disclosures that have
Okay,
come through APSATS, and they have a wonderful directory, and they could help you find someone. But my plea to women is always, or partners is always, don't do it alone.
got it.
Get in a group, just like the guys need their group
Hmm.
for people that are going to cheer them on. We need each other, as our spouse can't really tend to our wounds the way we would need or
Right.
like right away, and so they can in a group get that kind of support.
Barbara, thank you so much. I want to wish you all of God's blessing on your retirement. I
Thank you.
hope you have great trips planned. Any exciting bucket list thing that you want to do?
Oh, I think we've done the bucket list. My
Okay.
grandson is in a travel baseball team this summer,
Okay.
so I think that's what we're doing.
Oh, I love it. Okay. Well, thanks
Yeah.
again. It was an honor and a privilege to have you on the show. Thanks again for coming on.
Oh, thank you.